going on, everybody? George, Casey here, Going Bracket Racing YouTube channel. Hey, hope everybody had a lovely weekend, and hope everybody's dodging the rain coming up this weekend. Seems like there's a lot of that coming to Texas right now. Casey, what's going on, man?
Not a whole lot, man. Just like I was telling everybody earlier, just doing a little bit of work on the Firebird, getting some stuff in order. You know, I got to rewire that entire thing. Got a grid for it, got all kinds of stuff from over there at Chance Performance. Been doing a whole lot of work on it lately, man. So we're slowly but surely getting there. It's just one thing after another, like always, race cars, you know.
Yeah, it sounds about like the truth. You know me, I'm dealing with a few fuel system woes. It's going to keep me out of the racing for this next weekend. And it kept me out of racing at the team's race there at XRP as well. So we'll be taking apart some stuff here pretty soon. Champ, I'll probably be calling you pretty soon too. So, but no, man, I think we got a pretty good show lined up for today. We get to pick the brains of a couple of very, very influential bracket racing promoters, and they got some big stuff coming up here real soon. Real quick, we're gonna check out the Drag Champ Minute as always. Can't thank Drag Champ enough for coming in and doing that for us. So hang tight, guys. We'll have guests right after this.
What's up, guys? Gary Don here, back again with the Drag Champ Minute. You can only find it on Going Bracket Racing. Goes live every Tuesday afternoon at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. So what's hot in bracket racing today? We have about 4 guys that just turned it on this weekend. So we're going to kick it off on the NHRA side. Nick Eisenhower wins the U.S. Nationals in Super Comp about 3 weeks ago. He turns around, goes to the Midwest Nationals at St. Louis this last weekend and goes back-to-back, picking up his second Wally in about 3 weeks. So Nick Eisenhower showing out in the month of September. We'll move over to the Jim Harrington Bracket Nationals, where Mike Barber drives his Mustang to the $50,000 win for the main event. But even better, he was 2 of the 3 entries at 3 cars. He had to run himself, dropped an entry there, went on to the final and finished it up for $50K. So Mike Barber getting it done. And then the big race winners of the weekend at the Derby City 100K, T-Rock, Troy Williams Jr., following his brother Gary's win last year, turns around, wins a 100K main event. So the Williams brothers, back-to-back years, taking the 100K home. But the big news of the week, Bryson Scruggs, he takes home the MVP from the Derby City 100K. He wins the 25K. It was a Saturday's race that finished on Sunday. He rolls right into the Sunday 25K, goes all the way to the final where he came up a little short, but ends up winning the MVP of the weekend. And that is what's hot in bracket racing today. For more bracket racing news, info, and all the results you want, follow dragchamp.com. Back to you guys.
All right, guys, welcome back. And as always, thanks again, Drag Champ. I know the screen looks quite a bit different than normal. This will be a first time for Going Bracket Racing. There's 4 of us on the screen, so you get your choice. You can look at whatever side you want to look at. It's a little jumbled, but it'll get the job done. I'm pretty sure you guys will agree with that. So we have Casey. You want to do the introduction? You want me to do it? Let's go there, man.
I think everybody knows these 2 guys, man. We got Gaylon Rolison. We got Britt Cummings over here. Britt was on last night with Cole talking about the wannabe race, talking about the Great American Series. I don't think they really need much of an introduction, man. How y'all doing? Thanks for being with us.
Oh, man, we're doing great. Thanks for having us.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank y'all for having us. And there is people that's never heard of us. Just asked that one of them guys from Carolina there that never heard of some people and called them talentless.
Yeah. Is that what that running joke's about?
Yeah.
So as always, guys.
Yeah, we ain't gonna say.
No, you good.
I said we ain't gonna say no names, but yeah, we're not that famous.
So as always, when we start off Going Bracket Racing live YouTube channel, thanks guys for being here with us. We always try to figure out, how'd you guys get started in the drag racing as a whole. This particular time, though, going to kind of structure it a little bit different. How did you guys come up with the Great American Bracket Racing Series is what I want to ask. It seems to be top notch to what we have going on in promotions right now. Paying out a heck of a lot of money last year to Jeff Serra, excuse me. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to be the next one to make all that money. So you guys have to tell me how you came up with it.
Oh, as far as are you talking millions specific or just the brand Great American Bracket Races?
Just the series as a whole. We'll get into the million here in a minute, but the series
Okay.
as a whole, because we know you guys do more than just one big money race a year. You do quite a few races, so we just kind of want to know how you got together, how you even came about doing promotion.
Well, I'll lead off, Britt. I've been promoting since 2005. I have another series called the King of the Coast series that I started off with, and I started off small. I've never raced, pretty much. My brother has, and my dad has, and I got into promoting because I was involved with if anybody remembers the old B&M series back in the late 90s. I worked for that series a couple of years. Then I learned a lot. Then I decided that I wanted to try the promoting game, here in Gulfport. And me and my buddy Tommy Castanedo started the King of the Coast series, and which is still going today, which I think might be the longest running bracket series, pretty close to it anyways, around. And I wanted to be able to do a bigger race. And I'd known Britt and Slate and his family because my brother had raced at some bracket races that they've raced in. I was kind of the quiet guy, so they really didn't know a whole lot about me, and I really didn't know a whole lot about them until I met them. Started hanging out with them, and I approached Britt, say, Britt, I do this King of the Coast series, but I want to be able to do something a little bit bigger. And back then, a $50,000 race, crazy as it sounds, was a premier event. Back then there was only probably 3 or 4 races that paid 50 to win. And so I approached Britt and I said, Britt, are you interested in doing an event with me? And he said, well, why you need me? And I said, well, Britt, you're a pretty influential guy in this industry. Even back then he was. And, I think you being a part of it would be a big key to the success of if I could put this together. And we put our heads together and we came out with the Great American $50,000 race back in Britt. What was that? 2009, 2010. We did that race at no problem. And from there, it just evolved. We did that race exclusively, that one race for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years. And then we transitioned to the Dream Team, which was a phenomenal success, and it's still doing very, very well. And this year we added the red, white, and blue 15Ks, which we featured the buy one get one deal. You buy one entry, you get a second one free. And then we just added the then we, of course, 2 years ago we did the Great American Guarantee Million, which we'll talk about later. And now we've got the New Year's race. We're going back to no problem this year. So we've just evolved over time. That's how me and Britt met. Britt, like I said, he's a pretty influential fellow in the sport of drag racing. He'll tell you that he's not, but we all know the truth.
Well, I'm definitely not influential. We just happened to race a lot before social media, and that's how I got to know most of the people I know, face to face. And, there was a time that I raced 43 weekends a year, and that wasn't in Louisiana. And Gaylon he told the story exactly right, how the GABR went down, and I still today can't believe that he called me. And there was really the first year I think I might have even raced in it, huh, Gaylon? Like Gaylon said, I just want basically Gaylon told me, said, I want to use your name because you can get the guys there. If your name is on the flyer, I can get the traveling pros, all the people that I may have not raced. Yeah. I don't.
No, you didn't race in it, but that's one reason we brought Britt. I asked Britt because he didn't know a lot of people. And back then, you know, I wasn't known at all, really.
But,
I still
well, it was
might
before
not be,
social
but
media.
you know,
Yeah, it was before social media, like I said, and yes, I mean, we knew a lot of people and we went to a lot of places. And, I think the first year I just stood around and watched, and didn't really care for it too much. I don't think we made any money. I think there was actually a hurricane that was in May of that year. And there was actually a hurricane that tried to come through. And, our traveling pros traveled. But I think we had Gaylon a little over 100 cars, maybe 110, 120.
Yeah, so somewhat.
Yeah,
Something
but
like that.
it's evolved. It's evolved, and the one thing he did leave out is we did the Great American All-State race, which made the spinoff of it was the Dream Team Challenger, which, by the way, is the best race to date that I've ever been a part of. And it is a pleasure working that race and watching how everything goes down.
I've talked to quite a few people that have been involved with that. I've never personally been involved, obviously, but I've talked to a lot of people that have been involved with the Dream Team race, and they just say it's a totally different vibe because everybody is actually having fun and it's not so serious. And it's not like, one guy versus everybody else there. It's a dream team, a team that you put together, and everybody on that team is rooting for that team. And then if their team loses, they got their buddy's team, and now there's all those guys. But it's more a fun type race, like bracket racing was originally supposed to be before we all got so serious.
No, definitely Dream Team.
Yeah,
You got it. Did we freeze?
Yeah, that is a unique event. As me and Britt said, it's kind of like taking a bracket finals and merging it with a bigger money bracket race, and it's different. It's got a different feel to it. As Jason Lynch said just earlier this year, I think they participated in the Dream Team. I don't know if this is their first time doing it this year.
It was our second.
Year. Second one. Jason had mentioned, Jason's racing resume is, it's well documented.
Right.
He's one of the goats.
Right.
He's one of the goats. He really is. He said, man, I've been in $100,000 finals. I've been in all these finals, and with no big deal. When I staged up in the Dream Team race and I was the fifth pair out and it was tied 2-2, he said, I felt a little something right there.
Yeah,
I had to turn the wind light on for me and my team. He said that was a unique feeling that he says that, and I'm paraphrasing, but he said that's something he's never really felt before. There's a little bit more added to it.
Right, so and that makes sense, man, because there's people depending on him. It's not for himself. So right. That makes a lot of sense. So that might be the only time where you get Jason Lynch flustered. So maybe you need to run him in the Dream Team race to finally beat him.
Is that the case?
Well, it didn't work. It didn't work. He turned the wind light on.
Yeah, it usually works that way.
Right.
So let's talk a little bit more about the Great American Series, because like we said, there's more than one race a year. So how many races do you have a year? Where are they kind of located? Are they all over the country? Are they mostly in the South? And are they all big time money? Are they moderate money? What else do you have other than, like, say, the million and things like that?
Well, of course, we have the Dream Team, and we do that at Holly Springs. That's always the Dream Team was in May, but when we had the million, we switched. We had to do some swapping around. But the Dream Team race was the weekend before Memorial Day weekend, and we decided to do the weekend before strategically because we all know Memorial Day weekend there's races everywhere. And in 2022 it'll be the same weekend. It'll be the weekend before Memorial Day weekend at Holly Springs. This year we did the red, white, and blue 20Ks and 5Ks. And what was significant about that is we featured, if you buy one entry, you get one free weekend entry. So you get two for the price of one. And our angle from that was me and Britt feel like we understand that a majority of the expense of going racing is a lot of it's getting to the racetrack. And there are some racers, that aren't pretty big on doubles. So we felt like we could kill two birds with one stone. We could let everybody be doubled and reduce and enhance a racer's ability to make the most amount of runs they can down the racetrack. Because a lot of racers that double, that's why they double, because they don't go racing every weekend anymore. So when they do go racing, they want to make as many hits as they can. So we just felt like that was just a win-win, and it worked. We guessed right on that, and it worked, and worked so well. We're going to do it again next year. And just recently, we unveiled the Stars and Stripes race New Year's weekend at No Problem Raceway. That'll be New Year's weekend coming up, and it's kind of a spin-off of the Dream Team a little bit, but it'll have where you'll pick two top ball racers, and whichever team wins the most amount of rounds between the two future races will get a portion of the pot, and which is 100% payback. So those and the million course. So we've got 4 events scheduled, and me and Britt have another we feel that is a pretty innovative idea coming up, and we'll be releasing. Hopefully, we'll be releasing that soon. But Britt and I, we really try to be different. We try to be innovative because we feel like that's what you have to do to try to stay ahead of the curve.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, Gaylon hit it a little bit. The going back to the All-State race and every Dream Team race and any specialty race we've had, it's always been 100% payback. So that's pretty unique in itself. Gaylon, he's still at work right now. I'm not working a day because it's raining, but racing is not my living. I mean, promoting races is not Gaylon's living. He works for Coca-Cola and I strike parking lots. It's not a get rich thing. It's doing what we love. And if we happen to make a little bit of money, that's okay. And if we don't, I mean, we went 9 years without making any money, so to speak.
Yeah.
So we're okay with it, but giving back to the racers, and a win for me is starting and completing everything that's on our flyer and paying out the amount of money that we advertise. That is a win. That is a great weekend. And that's personally how I look at it.
That leads me to another question. It's the same question we asked Michael Beard actually on last week's stream. If you guys hadn't seen it, go check it out. We had Loose Rockers Michael Beard on here. It was a great show. But Britt, being a racer and being a successful racer at that, you kind of just answered it right there. So do you think winning a big race is more important to you than promoting a big race successfully on both ends? Which one, how do you think they feel, I guess, separately?
Well, I haven't won a race in damn near 3 years now. So promoting is definitely where I feel the win. But, going rounds now is like a big deal to me. I don't race that much anymore. But going and being able to be competitive is my goal now. But when we put on these races, like when we finally got through the hurricane at the Million last year, it was like we had I personally had accomplished something. And it was I'm not going to say it's my biggest accomplishment in life, but we did something that not too many people has ever even tried. So that was a win. But at the end of the day, probably the wins in a race car mean more to me. Just round wins now. Being competitive. A win promoting a race is just starting and finishing everything that's on your flyer and paying the amount that's advertised. That is a win promoting a race to me.
Yep. So I think you guys successfully answered my next question, which was going to be, in your opinion, what separates the Great American Race from other promoters' events? You've pretty much already answered it. You guys are 100% payback, and some other things that you got to mention there as far as for different spins that you're putting on races. Do you guys care to add anything more to it, or we can skip on to the next question?
I'll lead off with that, Britt. I feel that Britt and I think that we can relate to the racer because we don't do this for a living, and we're never going to do this for a living. We understand. We live the grind of getting up early and going to work Monday through Friday. We understand what that's like. Even though I don't race, I understand what the racer may go through to get to the racetrack because just to be able to go racing sometimes. And I think the racers kind of appreciate that. Another piece I think that makes us different is I personally feel like there's nobody in the promoting business that's going to outwork us at the racetrack. I think it's well documented that me and Britt live in the staging lanes. Now, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with not being in the staging lanes, but we want our customers to feel like we're just an arm length away. And that's important to us. We don't want to be the fella that's in the motorhome or wherever. And I don't know if other promoters do because I don't worry about other promoters do. I worry about what me and Britt do. But it's important to us to be close to our customer. And so I think those are just a couple of things that I feel that put us, I'm not going to say on another level because I'm not the one that's going to judge where we at because I just focus on what me and Britt do. But I think that separates us a little bit, whether it's for the good or for the bad. I mean, we care about the racer, and we make a point to let them know we do care about them. And if they ever have a question, we're never too far away.
I think Gaylon hit the nail on the head there. I don't have really anything to add to that. I don't know that we're separated, but from all the other promoters, but we are out in front of our racers at all times. That's one thing I can say that we definitely do. That the little bit of racing I do. I mean, whether it's an NHRA race or a bracket race, you don't ever see the division director out in front of you. You don't see Glenn Cromwell out in front of you. And you usually don't see too many of the other promoters out in front of you. And we could be at the front gate. We could be handing out time slips. We could be helping the honey wagons, get to a pit area and helping him suck out somebody's pit area. I mean, you just no telling where you're going to see us at the racetrack, but we are out in front of our racers.
That's a great thing too, because that says a lot about you guys. Just that the fact that if anybody has a problem, they can take care of it right at the source rather than have to go find you on top of it.
Yeah, Britt, he kind of, just to elaborate from Britt, we do a lot. We park cars, we park we work the staging lanes. Me and Britt and even Slate and Cole, we would take turns working the staging lanes. Because we understand how pivotal that running the staging lanes is. I mean, there's a lot that can go wrong in the staging lanes, and we want to be able to be there for it, be a part of it. And I think the racers appreciate it. I really do, because we want to embrace the grind, because when you race 3 or 4 days and, we're down south and it's not exactly cold down here. It gets pretty warm, and we just don't want to we want to embrace the grind with them, and I think the racers in some weird way relate to that.
Definitely, man, because we're all sweating together.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So
I can say that
again.
I can say that on July 4th, I went to I-30 to that race, that big race they had there. And, they relatively are a new track with a new staff and this and that and the other. Out the gate, they were struggling. The first day, day one, And, you know, after I made my first run, I could not help myself. And I'm not promoting me or I or whatever, but I could not stand to see them struggle. They were a little bit understaffed. So I went to the front of the staging lanes, and basically for 7 or 8 hours, I helped them run the front of the lanes to keep cars going down the track, just because I didn't want to see them struggle, and I just wanted the race to go smooth. I just couldn't help myself, you know, and I didn't want nothing in return. You know, I was making my runs. I actually did pretty good that weekend. But, you know, that's just another thing. You know, I would do that at any race I went to if they allowed me. I mean, if I see somebody struggling, no matter where it's at, you know, I'm going to try and help. So, you know, like Gaylon said, we relate to people, I think.
I'm going to chime in here with a comment from Brandon Taylor. He says, that's because you lost the first round, Britt. just so you know, BT's in the chat talking a little trash.
Yeah. Well, BT can talk all the trash he wants, but, you know, I think when I went to Montgomery, there wasn't a purple car that beat me. Just saying.
Oh, man.
And it begins.
So,
guys, we at this point, obviously, we know the 2020 Great American Million was a good success, great success, whatever you want to say. I know you didn't get to do a lot of the stuff you want to do because of the weather coming in, but I just wanted to ask you guys to begin with, what possessed you guys to pay a guaranteed, not just put $1 million on the flyer, but pay a guaranteed, the word is on the flyer, $1 million, we're paying this much money. And how nerve-wracking was it putting that flyer together for the first time?
Yeah, Britt,
I'm a leading in this one, but because we are a bunch of dumb mofos, that's why.
Is that all the sums up?
All right, Gaylon, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Gaylon. Give him the real answer.
No, that we just wanted to be able to do something that, at the time when we had this idea, because we've been working on it for a couple of years prior to even releasing that event. You know, Britt spent a lot of time reaching out and getting disclosures from people because we wanted to keep it under wraps, because there's a lot of folks that said, oh, $1 million races, you know, you call it the $1 million race, but it don't pay $1 million, you know, and we wanted to be able to do that. So we, a good solid 2 years, I want to go back to probably into 2017 and 2018. Britt had been working on this, you know, a lot, and we wanted to be able to be, at the time, be the first organization to do that. And it didn't work out that way because we had some reschedules, but, you know, we did it. And I still think about that, man. I think about it, and I just like, I can't believe we did it. And one thing that I would like to point out on that is, and we didn't do a very good job of promoting that, the guaranteed million didn't pay $1 million to win, and it actually paid $1,066,000 to win, because we were oversold on the event, and we felt like it was the right thing to do. Because if you cap your race at 450, anything after that, you know, we didn't want people to think that we were trying to be sideways about anything. Because if you allow 450 entries, not all 450 are going to show up for whatever reason. So to hit that 450, obviously you have to do some sort of oversell, you know. And we did our market research, and we felt like an 8% oversell would after everything's settled, we should be right around that 450. Well, we were wrong. They all showed up. And we had, you know, so we took everything after the 450, even in the side races, even the 80K and the 40K, we added all that money back to the purse, which ended up being, correct me if I'm wrong, close to $100,000 in purse that we added to it, because we just felt like it was the right thing to do. You know, it was just the right thing to do. I wouldn't have been able to look my kids in the face. And
and adding to that, you know, I've had plenty of people tell me man, y'all should make a big deal about what y'all did. You know, adding all that 66,000 to the million and the other 40,000 to the side racing. Y'all should promote that. And I was like, nah, the people that know, you know, they have that say now, if you know, you know.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
if you know, you know.
Well,
Well,
we just felt like you shouldn't promote something that you should have done anyways. You know, that's just
exactly.
you shouldn't do that, because yes, it was the right. You shouldn't promote doing the right thing, in my opinion.
And that comes off too, because right here in the YouTube chat, there's a guy, Bracket Racer 9662, says, I can tell you these guys are the best promoters out there. That's why everybody showed up. So there you go.
It's a fact. That's a fact. And it is stand up to, I won't name any races, but this happens quite a bit to where, you know, you go to a race, maybe it's even a gambler's race. You head to that race and they say, oh, it's $60 to enter. Let's say they have 500 cars there. Let's say they have 400 cars. It's right before a big race such as $1 million or something like that. Why are we only racing for $2,000? If $60 and 400, I'm sorry, the math, either you're telling me I'm goofy and I can't do math, or you run into the bank with a whole lot of money and not up in the purse. So that stand up alone. I know there's quite a few guys out there like that who would do that, at least as far as from what I know. But to the tune of what you guys put almost 100 grand back into the race, that's saying a lot. That's saying a lot, a whole lot. So,
and the point is, George, is that at the end of the day, nobody is required to do that, because at the same time, nobody complains whenever no one shows up to y'all's race and then you guys lose your butts. You know what I mean? They don't complain at that point. They complain whenever you don't pay back. But the point is that you guys did pay back regardless of what everybody else thought. And that's a stand-up thing to do.
Yeah. And we did get a little bit of flag. Well, why'd you oversell it? And we explained to them, well, you have to oversell it to get to that 450 mark. You know, and some people, you know, still felt like that maybe it was a little bit whatever you want to do it. But, you know, we were as transparent can be. When racers, when we got into the split in the million, we showed them, hey, this is the $1,066,000 to win here, here, and here. And everybody that was involved was, you know, when we told them it was $1,066,000, they all looked at us like, well, where's that 66 coming from? And we told them, look, we had more than 450. So, again, you shouldn't promote doing the right thing. That's just me. I'm not saying the way I think is right. I feel better about it. When I lay my head on my pillow at nighttime, I feel better about it, and Britt does too.
So I'll say this.
I
too.
mean,
you got it, Britt.
Go ahead, Joe. Okay, you know, yes, it paid $1,066,000, but do you know how easy, if either one of us had an ego, that we would have added another 35,000 to the pot? What that would have made it? But we decided. I mean, that's not us.
Right.
You know, we're not about self-promotion and the biggest and the best and the better. We don't care. You know, so just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
We just do us. We do us. And that's the best way to explain it. There's a bunch of great promoters out there that do a phenomenal job, but Britt and I, we worry about Britt and I.
so
I think anybody that puts on a race is, you know, they all go out on a limb. If they put a guaranteed on a purse, they all go out on a limb, and just to even do it is an accomplishment. Just to even put it out there. I'm not bashing anyone at all. Good luck. I don't want to see anybody lose money. Never want that. Me and Gaylon's been fortunate. We have never lost money. There was a time that, you know, it wasn't that long ago. We thought we was going to lose a shit ton, but we wound up getting lucky. But we have also, that's not how we make our living. You know, we haven't made any, up until 3 or 4 years ago, we didn't make any money. You know, at the end of the day, no matter what happens, if I make $500,000, $1 million, or whatever, that's still not what I do for a living. I'm still going to go the next Monday morning and I'm going to strike parking lots. That's me.
No, gotcha. Now, and I come from the type of person who says, you put something on a flyer, and this is stand up for you guys, right? I commend you on that. This is probably why I'm not a promoter. because the way it goes for me, if I put something on a flyer and I paid it, well, okay, then I understand it got oversold, but I understand that you got to have your safety net as well. There has to be a net there. What if 10 of those people who said they were coming, like you said, Gaylon, what if 20 of those people didn't show up? Well, you better have some type of a buffer to be able to put that money back where it's supposed to be. So I'm of the type where if I'm crazy enough, in Britt's words, crazy enough to put on $1 million guaranteed race, then I should be, quote unquote, well within my right to cut tail and take money that we oversold unintentionally. Like I can understand somebody would sell, hey, we're gonna take 450, and in their back of their mind, yeah, right, man, I'm taking 550. I can see that, but anyway, it's stand up of you guys to do that is what I'm getting at, and I just went the long way about saying that. So that's what I got.
Thank you.
So, Casey, we're on number 5 here. I always get lost a little bit. I'm sorry about that, but
we go off on tangents a lot.
Well, I'm gonna change hats then. We're gonna go with the Alliance place.
Side note on that. Side note, George, right before they're over here commenting, they're betting on how many hats Britt's gonna wear by the end of it. So I don't know what they're betting.
I'm watching it on you.
It was kind of like the over and under how long it would take Gaylon to comment on my Tom Brady post the other night. The over under at my house was 2 minutes, and it was under.
I blew that out the water. It was like 10 seconds.
Hey, don't take any steam from my Rams now, okay, Britt? Now, my Rams just kind of took care of y'all.
No, hey, just saying, Gaylon likes to give his input about football, and especially Tom Brady. And I knew if I put anything that was borderline bad about Tom Brady, that Gaylon would comment. And me and Cole and my son Dalton had over under a 2 minutes. And all I put on my post was Tom Brady looks old, and it was.
Hey, I saw it. I commented on it too.
Man, well, I'm gonna clarify. People always ask me, Gaylon, what is your deal with Tom Brady? And it's quite simple. That guy, he ain't the fastest. He's not the strongest. I mean, he's definitely not the most athletic. But that dude just knows how to win. And
That's
he's
true.
done it for so long. And he just knows how to win. And when just him being on the field makes his team better. And he will never be outworked. One quote I love Brady is if you're gonna outcompete me, you better be willing to give up your life because I'm willing to give up mine. And I've got so much respect for that guy. He catches so much flack from everybody, but you know what? He just does him, and I gravitate towards that.
Definitely the GOAT. I don't have anything else that I can say about that. He's the GOAT, regardless of who. If it's the Patriots, the Rams, I don't care. That's the best quarterback to play the game right now. Period. I don't see anybody coming to beat him anytime soon either. So, we were talking about the guaranteed million, and I'm curious, how'd you guys structure that? I don't have the flyer right in front of me. I just didn't want to put up the wrong stuff, so I didn't place a flyer. Mm-hmm.
Well, the million in itself is limited to 450 entries. We are, of course, when you have a limited field, you have to do a pre-entry because you can't do a limited field and sell entries at the gate because that never works. And the reason we did the 450 mark is because we wanted to be able to try to get the race in a reasonable amount of time. The million specific is, it's contested over 2 days for multiple reasons. One being is if you run the million in 1 day, there's a good chance that final round is going to be way past 10 o'clock. And we want there's two finalists to be able to enjoy that moment and have the racers or people around them enjoy the moment with them. If you have $1 million final at 12 o'clock, everybody's probably in their motorhome sleeping. And
right.
that was important to us. The other piece of that is when it's a re-entry race, and when you have 450 entries, the guys and ladies that win first round kind of feel like they lost first round because you had the re-entry guys and ladies going for the re-entry. So we thought and this was Britt's idea, is contested over 2 days, run the first round and the re-entry round, be done, then come back the following day, get everybody a time run and put second round. So everybody feels like it's equal for everybody as far as from when they went down the track.
Gotcha.
Now, with all that said, none of that worked out at this past year's race. None of it worked out because of the hurricane that came through, and we lost a day and a half. But the reasons he gave was specific, exactly correct why we did it.
Gotcha. Did we lose you, Gaylon? You still there? You might have lost him for a second.
Gaylon got that middle. Gaylon has that middle of the mall phone.
He bought it at one of them kiosks.
Yes, he did.
He called it the middle of the mall. Okay, I caught that.
Yep.
I caught that. Hey, Britt, what
Yeah.
events actually surround the million? Was it a couple of 20s, or is it a little more than that?
Last year we were scheduled to have 3 40K races for $250 each day. With the hurricane coming through, we decided to combine the first day and make it an 80K, then run the million, and finish off with the 40K. But then the hurricane stayed around. Anyway, we ran an 80K and a 40K and the million. This year, because that went so well last year by accident, it basically saves the racer a day of traveling, a day of work, or whatever. We decided to go with the 80K, 40K format again. And it has nothing to do with us. It's all about the racer. It's one less day at the racetrack. So that's what we decided. And hopefully it all works out, where we have good weather and everything goes as scheduled.
Yeah, man, and those 40s, those were a good deal, if I remember correctly. That's the type of race where it reminds me a lot of the OG million back in the day, where there were a whole lot of people. So I'm originally from like St. Louis area, but Southern Illinois, farmland area. But there were a lot of guys that used to go down there and they would run the surrounding races. And if they did any good in that, then they'd enter the big race. And that was very possible for you guys' race too, for all the surrounding races. So I really liked that format, so to speak.
I'm going to have to stop you there for a second. No, you couldn't at our race. You have to be entered in the million to run the side races, because we did, because of the reason I've been to a lot of other big races that allow you to do that for the reasons you were just saying. If I win enough money, I'll enter the big race. And then you always start off behind. You could have 600 plus entries, which at the end of the day, that's not good for anyone. The racer, the promoter, the staff, anybody. That's not good for anybody. So you have to be entered in our million to be able to run the side races. And if you are entered in our if you are single in our million, you can only single in the side races. So which we keep the car for the reasons Gaylon stated earlier. We know how many cars we can run without many problems, and in one day, in an average day, we know how many we can get down the racetrack. And I don't know, with me spouting off at the mouth like that, if Gaylon is now the right time to talk about what I just talked about, but what we're going to do different this year.
No time better than now. I mean,
okay, well, hey, y'all are going to get it here right now. We wasn't planning to release this till tomorrow, but Gaylon, I'm going to let you go ahead since you're the one that wrote it up. Or I can use my phone and I can read your release, but you know the ins and outs of it way more than I do.
Might have
Did
lost
we lose
him
him again?
We might.
Looks
you
like
might be on your own.
it looks like it. Let's
Man,
give
I didn't want to have to do this. Okay, so
Here he is. Hold on, he's back. I see him blinking. You blinking?
Yep.
all right,
Let's see
Gaylon,
it.
go ahead.
I say nothing. Go ahead, Brett. I was listening to you, buddy.
No, I want you to go ahead and you're the one that wrote up the release. So we have an announcement what we're gonna do. So Gaylon, go ahead with it.
Yeah. One request from the racer last year is for racers that were singled in the million. They really couldn't afford to buy a second entry into the million, but they wanted to be able to double in the 40s or the 80 and the 40. So we had numerous calls of racers saying, man, yeah, I wish you could do that. So what we were going to do, we were going to put in, now's not a better platform to release it on. If you're entered in the million, you will be given an opportunity to have a second entry in the side races up to a certain date. And once we up to a certain date, and once we get to that 450 mark, we're going to stop taking anybody that wants to double. Then for anybody that hasn't entered the million yet, they still will be guaranteed a spot in the 80 and the 40, and those entries will be allocated to our oversell. So we feel like that's just a win-win, and if we oversell it, we'll add the money to the purse. So that was a lot of feedback that we got last year and this year that, that, look, I can't afford a second entry into the million, but I would like to double in the side races. So that's what we're going to do because we're limited on the amount of entries into the million. So that's what we're going to do. We have a release going out. We weren't going to release it tomorrow, but why not do it now with everybody watching?
Gaylon's gonna hate me for doing this early. I mean, Gaylon is a very structured individual, and he hates doing what I just made him do. But hey, like you said, what a better platform to do it on.
Exactly, man, and we definitely appreciate that. So there you go, Going Bracket Racing fans. You got something live right here from Britt and Gaylon right there. That was actually my next question was going to be, do you have anything in the works or anything like that for the million? Because I knew you guys couldn't do everything you wanted to do last year. So there's a big announcement. What about all that stuff you guys were going to do last year, but then the water messed you up and things like that? Is there anything that's happening at the million this year that couldn't be done last year other than what we just talked about?
I think there's a couple things we wanted to do last year that we didn't do. We weren't really able to do our racer parties the way we wanted to. So we'll be able to try to do those this year. Everything works out the way it is. We do have a couple other things that we're trying to shore up that's going to be a little bit different. But it'll be a little bit different. But at the same time, if it ain't broke, we ain't gonna try to fix it either.
Good idea.
Words to
Very
live
good
by.
idea.
Words to live by. No, where we at, Casey?
George, go ahead there. We're skipping that other one. They already answered it for me.
So we know that the Guaranteed Million changed facilities recently. But kind of what goes into picking a facility to host such a big race? Huge race, 450 cars. Maybe is it just 450 parking spots? Or do you guys got something that you really look for as far as for holding a race like that?
Well,
I'm gonna let Gaylon answer this one. There's all kind of shit that goes into it, and you don't want my view on any of it.
So I was talking to Britt about that earlier, and he summed it up. He said, we want to go to a racetrack that's going to let us do what we need to do to put on a good race. Short and sweet, because we feel like that we put the customer at a premium, because we understand if you don't grab your customers and pull them close to you, they're going to go somewhere else. They're going to get drugged somewhere else. So we want to be, and that's what we mean, do what we want to do, what we need to do, because we just feel like it's important to us. On another note, going to a track, obviously you got to have some sort of relationship with the track promoter or the track owner. I mean, you got to have a good relationship. You have to have, I would think you have to have some history with them, so that you work together on one of the biggest events if not the biggest event of the year. And we felt like we've got that with Capital City Motorsports Park and Ben Willis. Ben Willis took that facility over, and when I say he gave it a facelift, that is an understatement. He's really turned that facility around, man. And I can't give that guy more. I mean, I can't underplay it. I mean, he's done so much for that facility when that facility could have folded up. And me and Ben have history. We worked together, sponsor one of my series, and the class act fellow, and that was important. When we called him and said, Ben, we need help, and he didn't even think twice about it. Said, what we got to do to make it happen? I'm here for you guys. So having a good relationship with the track, and and of course having a facility that can host that type of event, a facility that is in good working condition, that's well maintained. All those things go into play, and the location is pivotal. I mean, we know that you can't take this race and have it in wherever and expect the same car count, but location's big. So there's a lot of things that go into play, but I think that the main part of it is to allow racers, or allow the track owner or operator, let us do what we need to do so we can be successful.
Yeah, I have to imagine you probably run into quite a bit of resistance sometimes too. Then that probably goes a long way. Sorry about cutting you off, Britt. You go for it.
Yeah, I'm going to make it short and sweet on my real answer is the facility operators, to put it in good words, I think that is the three letters is GAF. They have to GAF about their facility. And that's probably the biggest factor.
Yep. Definitely, man. There's nothing like we have a few tracks out here that you'll go down the return road and they won't even take the chunks of asphalt that's peeled up out of the middle of the potholes. We were just, me and a guy that came over and bought some parts for me this last weekend, we're just talking about that, and it's doesn't do any good for anybody. But one of the things that I wanted to ask here is something that's always really interesting. Me and George have been talking about it for a little bit, and we want to know about the Guaranteed Million Monday Night Football squares, and we want to know if we pick anything to do with bucks right now, will we get extra?
I'm not touching that. Yeah, we do.
I'm gonna let Britt take it. I'm gonna let Britt take over the football squares because he's really good at that. I'm not very familiar with the squares things. Him and Slate make that thing work wonders. So I'm gonna let Britt take the lead on that.
Well, I mean, we tried. We started off with the football squares, and going back to last year, we did the football boards. This year we tried to start out big and make it 120 a square. 120 a square. And we didn't sell but 3 or 4. So then we backed it off to $60 a square, and with 2 winners. And I think that once we fill a board, whatever Monday night game comes after we fill the board will be the one it's for. We don't know what game it's going to be for. If we fill it, it'll be for the next Monday night. If we start another one and it fills for the next Monday night or 3 weeks down the road, that's when we'll have it. We want to be specific to Monday night. I don't know why we did it that way, but that's how we did it. So we're going to be specific to Monday night on the football squares. With the race coming up, we don't have many opportunities left. So if you're interested in getting you a square, it's on our Great American page, and you can contact Slate Cummings directly, and he'll get you to the right place you need to be to send your entry fee for it. So anything to do with Tampa Bay, I don't really care who wins and loses in football. I really don't. LSU, the best thing that could have happened for me this year was they lost the first game. I don't have to worry about them no more.
They ain't even ranked. That's a shocker. I'm surprised they aren't ranked.
Yeah,
But anyway.
if they're on TV, I'll probably watch it for a little while, and I don't really care. I've gone the last month without TV, so I mean there ain't a lot I really care about anymore on TV. So anyway.
So I guess we're winding down to the end here. We come up on an hour here, and certainly thank you guys for spending so much time with us. But we talked a lot about the million. But other than the million, what is left in 2021 for the Great American Bracket Racing Series? Is the million the last goal? And if you care, what's in store for 2022?
Well, the million. I guess you could say the million is the last event of the year. We have the New Year's event, the Great American Stars and Stripes race coming up. So I guess you could say that's the end of the year or the new year. I guess I could go both ways. 2022. Date so far. We have of course, the New Year's race. Team race before Memorial Day weekend. Have
Losing you there.
I think we might be losing him
Losing
here.
Gaylon again.
Okay, so I'll take over here. So what Gaylon was saying is, technically, you can call it either way. We have the million, and then we have the our New Year's race, so it can be considered 2021 or 2022. But we have the million, and then the New Year's race. You can call that 2021 or 2022. Then we'll be the weekend before Memorial Day back at Holly Springs with the Dream Team, and then the last part of June. I don't know the exact date, but we'll be back there with the red, white, and blue race, the buy one get one. And then, of course, we'll be back for New Year's next year. That's what we have confirmed so far. We might have something else. I think you should ask the question that you really want to ask, George. Go ahead and ask the question you really want to ask.
Coming to Texas.
What he was, I think the real question was, is the million going to come back next year?
That's what I was looking for right there. I can wholeheartedly answer that question and say, if it is left up to me, this will be the last guaranteed million for a while. So if you want to run for a guaranteed $1 million, you better get after it this November. That's my personal feeling on it. We're not really even talking about it for next year, but we are talking about other things, just not a guaranteed million.
Gotcha.
So if you want to run guaranteed, you better get you some for next year. As far as I'm concerned, 2021 will be the last guaranteed million put on by us for a while. I'm not saying ever, but for a while.
Interesting. So expect to see some 20s and maybe some 40s and some 50s. Some smaller races though.
Well, we think there's a great demand for them races.
I do too.
Yeah.
But we also Gaylon Rolison there with the middle of the mall phone. He is the mastermind of putting together races to where they make sense for the racer and make sure we don't lose our ass over it. So it could be some 20s, 40s. It could be a 250. It could be a 500. Could it be a non-guaranteed million? Maybe it could be. But we definitely have 3 dates confirmed next year. And I can confirm that I don't want nothing to do with the guaranteed million in 2022.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's just elaborate with Britt. Doing a guaranteed million, there's a lot of it don't stop. I mean, it's every day, almost 365 days a year. And as everybody knows, we have regular day jobs, and it's a lot. And the state of the economy is kind of wishy-washy right now. So I'm not saying we're never going to do another one, but I mean, we will always have an ace in the hole. I spun Britt on a structure of the event as early as last Saturday, and he absolutely loved it. And maybe we can do that race next year. I think it's very innovative. It's cool, and I think Britt thought it was a really good idea too. It kind of brings two worlds together a little bit, and that's all I want to be able to say about it. But I don't know how sometimes I think of these things that they're either completely stupid or really good ideas, but every time Britt tells me it's a really good idea. You know, everybody kept telling us to buy one, get one was the stupidest thing ever. It worked. You know, everybody loved it, you know. And,
I like that structure personally, just because it gets rid of the and I have this idea at times, and then I get on it and then I get off it at times, but I like the idea that everybody is doubled, because now you don't have the guys saying, well, the guys doubled have a major advantage because they're making 2 laps per round, you know, and then you have the other guys, though, on the other hand, like Michael Beard was saying last week, the doubled guys are typically your better racers. That's why they're doubled, and you don't have to go up. You know, if you're doubled, they call doubles. Well, you go up and first round, you might run, say, Jeff Serra, and then now you come up next round after you cool off and fuel up, and now you're running Troy or Gary, you know. Whereas if you're in the middle, maybe they won't be there because they had to be in the front and in the back. So I can see it from that side as well. But it's definitely a good value. Go ahead.
Well, another thing we did with those, right, that buy one get one, is if you were everybody's doubles. If you were not very lucky and lost first round of both entries, we gave you a discount on that second buyback.
Oh, nice.
And we did that also.
And no one's going to do that.
No,
I've never heard.
And also, if there's some people that they are absolutely against doubles or cannot double, their equipment is not capable of doubling. We allow them to share that buy one get one with a friend. You know,
wow.
Who else does that?
Besides the Crazy Eights race, nobody. I saw Slayton Cole kind of adopt that thought process. Yep.
The Crazy Eights is not a buy one get one. That's just everybody's double.
Oh, got you. I thought it was a share. I thought I read it share. I got you though. I got you.
Well, that's probably what it says on the flyer, but it's not labeled as a buy one get one race.
Got you. It is different. I mean, it's just a doubled race. Definitely not buy one get one. But I guess what I take my thought process from is $300 to double anything is for a whole weekend is pretty doggone cheap. So anyway, I think that's where I took that from. That's where I got it from.
Absolutely, man. Well, again, like George said earlier, man, we can't thank both of you enough for being here with us tonight and taking time out of your night. We know Gaylon's even still at work and talking to us, man. So we appreciate both of you being on here. Yeah. Do you guys have anybody that you'd like to thank before we let you go? And also, I got a side note. Does Britt have 9 hats he needs to put on here before we get off?
I was going to add something.
Let's see. 1, 2. I started the rotation over. Since the hurricane, I've got a lot more hats upstairs, but I got my other son living up there, so I couldn't go up here and get my other hats. But I think, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got 10 today. But I want to wear. I got one specific I want to sign off with October coming up. But I mean, me personally, I want to thank the racers for putting their trust in me and Gaylon. You know, without them, we can't do this. You know, and you know, a lot of them racers are Gaylon's personal king and coach racers. I mean, they'll follow Gaylon to the moon and back. Whatever Gaylon Rolison does, they're doing. So, you know, thank our racers and our sponsors. I mean, we've had Moser Engineering has been with us since the beginning. Skog and Dickey's been with us, you know, for the past 5 or 6 years. All of the round sponsors, Mickey Thompson, Well Wheels, Stan Holt, Lupe Tortilla. He don't give us any money, but he gives me specifically some very smart business advice. I mean, he's a very smart individual. I take that. I mean, I want to thank Stan Hope, Brody Cylinder Heads. The list just goes on. And all these companies they support a lot of the bracket races out there. Jigs, when with Jigs, I didn't really want to do that. I didn't want to do a voice, but Jigs. So Alliance Racewear, you got Pro One, you got Simpson. We've got 3 safety companies involved with our race. I mean, we don't turn away anyone that wants to be a part of our race and give away product. Me and Gaylon don't profit from the sponsors on the prizes and stuff. We don't keep the product and sell it on Facebook or whatever. We don't do all that crap. So the racers and the sponsors, long story short, is who I want to thank.
I agree with Britt. FTI, Larice Motorsports Insurance, all those companies, man, they're pivotal. For me, and Britt will agree with this, and this is a little bit more from the heart. I always know, my dad always taught me to be successful in business. You have to be able to surround yourself with trust. I'm not saying you can't be successful if you're not in that boat, but it sure helps. And Britt and I have an awesome group of people around us that make us look good. And from my wife, Jennifer, my daughter, Morgan, that run our front office for us, from Cole and Slate doing what they do, Ryan Gleghorn, Paige Hamlin, Jake Hodge. It just goes on and on and on of the people that we have around us that make us look good. That there's a lot of stuff that goes on, and we trust those guys, those folks. We trust them, and because it's important for us to do a good job. And again, we have to be able to have people like that for us to be successful. And it's when it's just not Gaylon and Britt being successful. It's all of us being successful. And that's what really matters, because you can make all the money in the world if you want to, but at the end of the day, what's really significant? The relationship that you develop at the end of the day. For me, it is. And as Britt said, our customers, without customers, you have nothing. You really don't. And you can have the best program on paper, but if you don't have customers, what have you done? And it means a lot that our customers believe in us. And I call them customers because that's what they are. They're not racers, they're customers, because I've said this, I've used this analogy before. It's no different than that customer going to a grocery store and spending $100. They're there for a service. Same thing here. A racer Cummings gives us an entry fee $1. Our job's to try to give them the best possible experience that we can. Because if we don't, they're going to go somewhere else. And, and that's important to us. So having the customer support us, we can't thank them enough. We really can't. And all our sponsors and everybody else. So those are the people that I thank, because without any one of those 3 pieces, we're not here today having this conference.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I want to thank one more. You said Jake Hodge, but I want to thank Ryan, Jake, and Clay Milliken. Jake and Clay did by far what I think is the best Motor Mania viewing ever. Mark Walter, great job. He was there with us the whole time. Mark Walter, Motor Mania, Jake Hodge, and Clay Milliken. That was the best Motor Mania coverage ever, in my opinion. If y'all watched it, y'all know what I'm talking about. Even on the day that it rained all day, we was live and we did interviews, and they did a great job of it. And that we're about putting our, as Gaylon says, customers first. We put our customers in front of the camera all that day, and Clay and Jake did a great job of that.
And
having people there.
That's the truth too, because George and I talked about that, because obviously there was downtime with the rain and everything. And I told George, I was like, dude, this reminds me of inside drag racing in the mid 90s or late 90s,
Yep.
whenever Kepner was doing it. And the thing is, everybody always says, oh, where's the sponsors for bracket racers? Well, stuff like that is what gets sponsors there, because you're interviewing people. Clay knows that better than anybody. And I mean, go ahead.
And that was cool to be able to see it rain and see Shannon Walker and talk about, just whatever's going on in his world, or Wade White or Alan Wickle, all those, man, just learning about what they do for the racetrack.
The whole Folk family, the whole family, all
Williams.
at one time. I mean, you're never, the Williams, you're never going to get that again,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That was cool.
Definitely was one of the better broadcasts, especially during downtime and rain. It gets boring just looking at a covered up camera and the racetrack, and you might see somebody walk past the camera every, 15, 20, 30 minutes. So you guys used your time wisely there. That was definitely well thought out.
Don't forget, that's taking care of all those sponsors that
Correct.
you had at the track too, because it's keeping people interested, and they paid to have people viewing on Motor Mania. And when there's a rain out, there might be 200 people watching, but whenever it's not raining, something like the Guaranteed Million, I don't know how many people, but there was probably 10,000 people watching, and that's what they paid for, and that's what you gave them. So you guys served your customers just as well.
Yeah. Well, I don't know the numbers of all the days that the numbers of all the days that we did broadcast racing, but that day we did during the rain, that we did all the interviews and stuff. I know all day long we had 1,000 viewers constant all day long. So I don't know what that means. I'm just a dumb redneck from Pumpkin Center that likes to have a good time. I think it was all good. So Mark Walter, Motor Mania definitely has it going on.
The couple of people that I wanted to mention was Troy Morgan with Troy Snack Shack. That Troy Snack Shack at the Million was phenomenal, man. And it wouldn't be possible with him to eat free all day long. That was pretty cool. And I also want to thank Jabbo, Terry Forsyth from Holly Springs Motorsports Park. We love you, Terry. Man, that's an awesome guy, man. That might be one of the hardest working track managers you will ever meet, because he literally does everything from scraping the track to cleaning the bathrooms.
Shoot.
He's not beyond doing anything. And I also want to thank Ben Willis at Capital City Motorsports Park. Ben, is really he's done a lot for us, and we appreciate what he's done. We really do.
Well, certainly, guys.
All right. Well, I know you want to finish up, but I'm going to say what I had to say last. I said I had one more hat to wear. It's back in the rotation, but with October,
yes, sir,
coming up, and Breast Cancer Awareness Month, if you want to donate any money this month for breast cancer awareness, Women Rock, they are out there. They have been to all of our races the past 4 or 5 years. They take every bit of money that they get, and they don't. It's not paid to a CEO or whatever. Women Rock is, if someone has breast cancer and they're not working and they can't get their groceries, they will go out and buy them groceries personally. They will pay their car note. That's where all that money goes. So don't forget about Women Rock in October.
Heard that.
Hey, I have one question. How can I get one of those Going Bracket Racing shirts?
Yeah, well, we got the red one's kind of hard to come by. Everybody bought it, so it's on back order right now. But there's multiple colors. We got a website that I can share with you and get you a Going Bracket Racing shirt. Let's see if I got something laying around. I'll send you one myself, if you know what I'm saying. So
Gaylon's easiest way to get a good shirt is I get it and then he steals it from me. So
I'll send it to you, Britt. No, I'm just kidding.
So same size.
Same size. But we got a shop. Yep.
But thank you for having us. I mean, it means a lot to us. Thank you for spending the time with us. Company. Things what y'all do is important to the sport. I mean, so you're thanking us, but we should be thanking you, because we understand. Well, we don't understand, but I know y'all just don't turn on a switch and make this go. I'm sure there's legwork behind that, and we appreciate y'all doing what y'all do.
Hey, the invite's open. It's open. Britt, Cole, Slate, anybody, it doesn't matter. Gaylon, the invite's open. You guys want to come? We'll have you on. I think I'm speaking for Casey, but I'm pretty sure he's nodding his head. I'm not even looking at him. He's probably nodding his head. Yeah. So, Casey, what you got in closing, man? Anything?
Not a lot, man. Just again, thank you guys for coming on. Like George said, if you guys ever want to come back, just you know how to get a hold of us, and just let us know, man. We'll get you back on, and we can drop some more knowledge whenever you get ready to release whatever Britt's spectacular idea is, and bring it on the Going Bracket Racing YouTube channel. And other than that, everybody like and share, subscribe, and we'll talk to you all next week.
See you next Tuesday,
All right,
guys.
thank you.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you,
y'all,
fellas.
guys.